On this week's episode of Newsbreak, Rotunda Studios talked to Longwood's Vice President and Chief of Staff, Justin Pope, regarding the new obelisk that was revealed Friday, September 14th.
And we also spoke with Managing Director of the Robert Russa Moton Museum, Cameron Patterson, about the inaugural National African American Cohort. This and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Welcome back to another episode of Newsbreak for the week of September 24th. I'm Nicole Del Rosario.
And I'm Alaina Jacques.
President Reevely welcomed a new monument to Farmville, stating the statue is an elegant and powerful celebration of Farmville's place in American history. Alaina Jacques has more on the story.
I'm standing on High Street where a new addition to the Longwood and Farmville community stands 16 feet tall. This obelisk creates a new birth of freedom and is described by President Reevely as a crossroads of American history.
Farmville, Virginia, although a small town, has played a significant role in American history over the last few centuries. It has been President Reevely's goal to make sure this story is more universally known.
It's been very important for him to help this community and the university see a little more clearly that Farmville really has played a consequential role in American history.
As to why Longwood chose specifically an obelisk, they believed it was important to recognize not just one specific person, but instead an accumulation of those who shaped American history.
It's honoring a lot of people and the significance of this place, so a statue of one particular person doesn't really make sense. And I think President Reevely was eager for there to be a bit of text that tied that story together. So it just seemed like a natural fit for the space, I think.
Pope says the response Longwood has received on High Street's newest edition has overall been very positive. And
people, I think, welcome it, are glad to have it there. It is a source of, the history here in this community is really complicated, like a lot of history, but there are parts of it of which we should all be proud. Barbara Johns, Patrick Henry, Gordon Moss, and it was just time for there to be some acknowledgement of that.
Both Pope and Reevely feel the timing of High Street's new obelisk was fitting and hope that years down the road this new monument will be somewhere for visitors to gather and remember this part of Farmville's rich history.
Like President Reevely has said on a number of instances, building a monument says a lot about not just what you're building a monument to, but the time and place in which you make that decision to build it. And I think it's a statement about Longwood and Farmville in 2018 and the values that are cherished here and what matters to us at this point in our history. And that will be a statement that will stand there, hopefully forever.
For Rotunda Studios, I'm Alaina Jacques.
Thanks, Alaina.
Farmville's Robert Russa Moton Museum has been selected to take part in the inaugural initiative that connects African American museums across the nation. Nicole Del Rosario spoke with Moton's Managing Director, Cameron Patterson, about the museum's next phase.
After a competitive application process, Farmville's Moton Museum has been selected as one of 7 museums in the country to participate in the inaugural National African American Cohort. The Moton hopes this honor brings attention to the town's history.
This cohort is to bring together various entities across the country that have a focus on African American history.
The National African American Cohort is facilitated between the American Association for State and Local History and the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
It's just very exciting to be associated with the work that they're doing. And I really just think it's representative of the respect that folks have for this museum.
After sending in an application in July, Patterson was notified they were selected towards the end of August.
When you talk about the civil rights movement, particularly the modern civil rights movement, you really cannot begin to talk about it without talking about what took place here at Moton.
Patterson said he hopes this new opportunity leads to the Moton working to become an accredited museum.
To learn from professionals who have gone through that process, who have ran organizations that operate at high standards. I hope that this could help us to lay that groundwork.
As far as the next phase for the Moton, Patterson wants more people to know about their story.
It's huge just to continue to put ourselves out there, to continue to have folks recognize the work that we're doing. Anything that we can do to help spread the Moton story and the history of the county that we share to visitors. We want to grab hold of those opportunities.
For Rotunda Studios, I'm Nicole Del Rosario.
Thank you, Nicole.
And now for our newest segment on Newsbreak, Humans of Longwood. Rotunda Studios talked to senior Deja Mitchell this week about her journey at Longwood.
My name is Deja Mitchell. I am a senior here at Longwood, and I am a psychology major with a double minor in women's and gender studies and criminology and criminal justice. I am a sister of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated here on campus, the Phi Omicron chapter. Big Siblings, we're basically a mentorship program. We partner with Prince Edward Elementary School here in Prince Edward County. We are counselors, we're mentors. We work with children that have been labeled as at risk by their parents, their teachers, or their counselors. We at least try to meet with them at least once a week, all 15 or 16 weeks throughout the semester to make sure that they're doing well in school, doing well at home, help them improve behaviorally and socially and things of that nature. My piece of advice to a freshman is to find your favorite thing about Longwood. There are hundreds of clubs and organizations that you can join. There are thousands of people that you can meet. Just take your time out, meet at least 2 people before you graduate. I'm a little sad that my time is ending here, but I wouldn't trade my experience for the world.
And now we go to TJ Wengert for sports.
Thanks, Alaina. This week, we're going to get you updated with all Longwood fall sports as they head into conference play. Starting with men's soccer sits at 2-4 as they dropped their last 2 games on the road at William & Mary, 3-2 in double overtime, and in Blacksburg when they fell to the Hokies 5-1. The Lancers opened conference play this past weekend at UNC Asheville, and next they will travel down to battle it out with George Mason Patriots on September 26th, before returning to Farmville on September 29th to take on the Highlanders of Radford University. Moving to the women's soccer program, they are 2-4-2 coming into this weekend after a 2-2 draw with the UNC Asheville Bulldogs, a game in which saw Longwood up 2-0 in the first half before the Bulldogs scored once before halftime and then the equalizer in the 62nd minute. They too hit the road as they will travel down to Charleston, Southern South Carolina to take on the Buccaneers and now are coming back up to the Commonwealth to play Radford and then will host Presbyterian. Last but certainly not least, the field hockey team is on the come-up. Coming off an overtime win with Olivia Wozniak getting the golden goal, they command a 6-2 record. Among those 6 wins, the program's first ever win against a top 25 team in the nation when they topped Liberty 2-1. And the team's 2 losses came at UVA, who sits at 10th in the RPI rankings, and then Rutgers, who sits at 9th. All this put together puts the Lancers at 19th in the country in those RPI rankings, the highest the program has ever reached at the Division I level. Those nationally ranked Lancers will be back in action on Friday, September 21st at Davidson, and then 9 days later, on the 30th, back at Elizabeth Burger Jackson Field to take on Miami of Ohio. For Rotunda Studios, my name's TJ Wengert. Now back to you guys.
Thank you, TJ. That's all we have for you for this week. Remember to catch up on all the latest news. Check out our website at therotundaonline.com, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And don't forget to pick up our next print edition around campus today, September 24th. Thanks for watching.